So I would like to show you now an area in Bulacan where Adamson has been going for 1 or 2 years. This is in Northville 4B, and this was severely affected by the flooding that happened on September 26. If I'm not mistaken, I was told, because I've not gone to this area yet, I've been to Northville 4A, but if I'm not mistaken, there were slum dwellers here, and their houses were just, what do you call this?
Washed away.
Washed away by the water. This is a creek, actually. So you can see, all the debris. So there must have been some dwellers here. See? So these are the foundations of some houses, and culverts here means there was a drainage system. And in fact, you can still see some of the houses there. So even the streets, because the flood waters went to the streets, you can see all the debris and the mud. So in front must have been some houses. You can see the road. This was these pictures were taken one day after the flood, 1 or 2 days after the flood. All of these are government housing. They were built by the government because these people were living in the railroad tracks, and they needed to be cleared for the railway system, so they were relocated here in Northville. Some were relocated in Cabuyao in Southville, and the government built houses for them. So these are the houses that were built. You can see that they were destroyed. We will have a close-up of these houses later on. You see how the water just entered the houses and destroyed them. In 9 hours, on September 26, in 9 hours, the amount of rainfall that fell is the average of 1 month. So the weather station told us it is just impossible for the earth to absorb so much water. And it was pouring, not drizzling, it was pouring for 9 hours straight. People said they've never seen so much rainfall in their lives, 9 hours. And then added to that is the fact that there was high tide. And Metro Manila is below sea level. That's why we don't have a subway system. All are above ground. So there was rain, it was high tide, and then 2 or 3 dams were open. And it's usually done like that whenever there is rain, because if they close the dams, it would be worse. So they say it's standard practice for them to open the dams, but they never realized that the rainfall would be so much. The weather station told us there would be rains today, but they never told us how much rain would pour. And what happened is really 9 hours of continuous rain. So some of them were even uprooted from the foundation. And since people were not prepared, everything was just underwater. They only had their clothes. They could not save anything. And then the other problem is drinking water. So they had to boil water from the river. in order to be able to drink it, unless, you know, there would be people who would bring them clean water for drinking and cooking. No electricity in this area. I don't think even now they have electricity. Some of our students and faculty members had to cook for them. So they brought their own gas stoves, and this is it's like a porridge, you know, that they cook, like soup kitchen, to distribute to the residents.
That's all nice.
And this is the office of Father Nonong. He's the one who directed all the relief operations, doing some planning with the students. I think the first day they had only 12 volunteers. We could not even contact our students. Even in my office where I have 3 student assistants, only one responded. And she said, I'm in Marikina, we were also flooded. I said, are you okay? And she said, yes, I'm okay, but you know, we stayed in the roof of the house. But the other 2, I didn't know where they were. Because no electricity, we could not communicate, etc. So the first day we had only 12 volunteers. The following day, I think we had 20. And then after that, we had like 200 already as the days went by. Some of these students also experienced the flood, you know, but despite that, they still went to Adamson. And we got a lot of relief goods, especially from the other universities. They brought the relief goods there so that they don't have to go to Northfield. So sorting clothes. And then all of them were brought to the vans to be brought to Bulacan. This is Pearly from the VCSR. This is the engineering building. This was like water was until here. So it entered all the buildings in Adamson except one building, which is the Cardinal Santos building where I have my office. You know, that's the highest, so water did not enter. But all the other buildings were, you know, had water. So you can still see the mud in the streets. So there were 3 things that they did in the relief operations. One, of course, was to distribute food and clothes and water as a relief operations. The second one was cleaning up the place. Because, you know, after the flooding, there was a lot of mud in the streets and also in the homes. And the third one is the medical and dental mission. So these were the 3 things that they organized that. And this man could not even walk to the place where they could get medicines. I think his feet were swollen. And this is one of our faculty members who actually carried him to that place. These are our nursing students.